Gary Johnson, obviously the presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, he's not doing well in a couple of regards. He was up around 12% at some point at his height in the polling. Not bad for a third-party candidate. We thought he should have been in the debates. I've defended him on a couple of occasions. Now he's slipped down to 6%. He's lost momentum. Let's keeping it real. That's what's happening. And then just yesterday, William Weld, his running mate, came out and said, apparently we're not going to break the two-party monopoly. Whatever you do, don't vote for Trump. Okay, make sure Trump doesn't become president. In other words, that's his running mate basically saying, go ahead and vote for Hillary Clinton. So I can understand why he's edgy, but he's not wearing this well. So first, he had an interaction with a BuzzFeed reporter, and that didn't go well. And then he had an interaction with a Guardian reporter, and that didn't go well. So let's begin to show you what happened.
I'd blow my brains out. If you're saying Trump or Clinton, is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, baloney. That's baloney. Don't ask me that question. I'm giving people their first vote.
Same questions. Is it the same questions? You get the same questions again and again and again?
Well, I'm an idiot, you know. I'm the dumbest guy that you've ever met in your whole life.
I'm trying to work out if that's sarcasm or not.
It is. I hope it's sarcasm. Here's what you answered, so obviously you're a dummy. How do you respond to your being a dummy? Well, I'm not a dummy. I'm not. And yeah, I'm human.
So I guess the question is, why are you doing so badly?
I would argue just the opposite. This is phenomenal. We got 12 million bucks. We're at 10% plus in the polls. We're leading among independents, among young people, among active military personnel. This is a celebration.
No, it's not. Okay. So those are the things that concern me. That's just not remotely true. Okay, so let's break this down. First of all, I know, man, it must be incredibly stressful to run for president, and the media has been jerks to you all along. I get that. But you can't lose your cool like this. So if somebody asking you, if you had to vote for Trump or Clinton, that's a question you should expect and have an easy answer for. Hey, I'm running against them, so obviously I'm not going to tell you which of the guys I'm running against I like less or I like more. So let's move on. Boom. Okay, you answered it. Or come up with a great answer that pivots, whatever it is. But don't be like, how can you ask me that question? You see, but then you look unhinged. Can't you see how that would look worse? Yeah, so that's problematic. He's beginning to really lose his cool here. By the way, I asked that same question to Jill Stein, and she didn't flip out on me. She didn't start, have the veins bulging or whatever. She gave an answer. That's okay. So then, how come you're doing poorly? Again, Governor Johnson, this is a question that you've got to expect. I know you've probably gotten it 1,000 times, right? By the way, there's a real answer. Just be honest about it. Just say, hey, listen, this is a two-party monopoly, and they didn't allow us at the debates, et cetera. We're doing the best we can. We were up to 12% on the polling. Given the limitations that we have, I think that was a fantastic showing, and we're going to finish strong here. Okay, asked and answered, right? Instead of flip it out and be, how could you say I'm doing poorly? And okay, he's going to flip out worse in a second. But one last thing, and don't say you're doing phenomenal. Then you lose credibility. It's not a celebration. If I'm at 6% and I have no prayer of winning any of the states with less than 2 weeks to go in the election, I'm a weirdo if I'm celebrating. So some people think you're a weirdo. Don't help them. Look, last thing in that first clip is the sarcasm. He always takes it over the top. It's okay to be sarcastic, and it's okay to say, hey, I'm human. That's my favorite part of the answer, right? But to go around and be like, yeah, I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy. I hope it's sarcasm. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself. Come on, get it under control. Look, I don't agree with you, especially on the question you're about to get on taxes. There's some things I agree with you, war on drugs, et cetera, and the wars overall, but you have some positions that appear to be extreme. You've got to be able to answer these questions without losing your cool. And he's going to try hard here in this next clip with The Guardian, but he's going to fail, and watch when he blows up.
Tell me what you think about taxation, because I know that's one of the policies of yours which has been garnered most attention. Could you just kind of summarize it for us in a nutshell?
Well, that there be certainty, and neither Bill Weld nor myself in our 2 terms each as governors raised taxes a penny. So there's a certainty. Taxes will not go up.
But that's not your tax policy, is it? I mean, your tax policy is to abolish income tax, abolish corporation tax, and abolish the IRS.
If I could wave a magic wand, I would eliminate income tax, corporate tax, and I would replace it with one federal consumption tax.
I mean, I've looked and searched for any credible economist who would think it's sensible to abolish income tax, abolish the IRS, abolish corporation tax, and replace it with effectively one large sales tax, and think that makes sense.
Well, like I say, we have a difference of opinion.
I'm not saying that you and I disagree. I'm saying most of the world's major economies, most of the world's major economists disagree with you.
Look, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue, really.
But it's not a question of arguing.
Look, I came out for the legalization of marijuana. Let me just use that as an example. And I will tell you that I had people in my face for years and years and years talking about how stupid and how idiotic it was that we should allow marijuana to be legal.
But what's that got to do with your tax policy?
It's leadership. It is leadership.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry about Gary Johnson, man. He went from like that weird fake smile to, and I was like, geez, okay, Gollum, hold on now. What's going on here? In fact, if you missed it, and I don't know how you could have, we slowed it down for you. Not only watch for Gary Johnson's sudden change of facial expression, but look at the poor reporter here.
Look, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue, really.
But it's not a question of arguing.
Look, I came out for the legalization of marijuana. Let me just use that as an example.
Not a question of arguing.
Look, I came out for the legalization of marijuana.
It's the second reporter I've had that reaction. When he started doing that with the MSNBC reporter, she was also like, when you're running for president, here's the face you don't want people making. It's a reaction to you. Look, at this point, it doesn't appear that he's going to win. And I thought he had a real shot at making a run at this thing. For a while, he was speaking. Trump was declining. And I find the libertarian position to be more honest and principled. I don't agree with it. I think the questions that The Guardian has were excellent. I think his tax policies are extreme and absurd. But it's a fair thing for Governor Johnson to say, hey, listen, people thought it was extreme when I said we should end the war on drugs, and now they agree with me. So, okay, that's a fine answer. I don't agree with it, but it's a fine answer. But when you start losing your cool and acting super weird, yeah, it's going to be hard to win. And so it looks like we're heading towards not a great ending here for the Johnson campaign. Keeping it real. You want to watch the whole 2-hour show, Young Turks, anytime you want, anywhere you want, any way you want, no commercials? I know what you're thinking.
People should die. They want Tony Snow to die. Cheney to die.
That's not what I meant at all. Nonetheless, become a member, tyrtnetwork.com/join.